what could you possibly tell somebody like that to continue on? Because I thought your video was scary. As a Black woman in this 2026, not yet finishing the PhD, but eventually will be out in the wild. And it was like, should I even go?
To see a whole film and a whole project that is built around our beauty just means an awful lot. So thank you.
Things We Imagine emerges from Imagine Futures, a digital and visual scholarship project that uses artistic portraits, documentary interviews, film, and written narratives from aspiring current and former Black college and university faculty to reimagine the academy and Black life within it.
What brought you to this project? And then what brought you to the decisions that you made and how to tell our collective stories?
I was in the throes of trying to publish a paper for my dissertation, and it wasn't going how I hoped it would go. The paper was around expectations that faculty have when they are being recruited and how those change once they're hired. So I sent it to Dr. Leonard Taylor. He said, "Hey sis, can we chat?" It's like, dang, I'm gonna have to start over, right? He was like, I think that expectations, that's a particular set of language. Let's sit that here. But reading through this and understanding who you are and how you've grown since you've, finished your doc program, I think what you're interested in is what futures do Black faculty imagine for themselves at these institutions. Fast forward to AERA, I was at the Black and Brown Party. So this is like, not the time to be talking about research, but I met Charles, who I was following on Twitter, and I knew he was a photographer in addition to being an academic. So I sent him a DM on Twitter. It was like, hey, I have this idea. I want to submit it to Ash. I know the deadline is like 4 hours from now, but I was like, this would be really cool. He's like, okay, cool, sure. And that is how our journey began with this project.
I felt compelled and called to the project in a very particular way. And part of that is in the work that I'd been doing at the time. And so I think it was this sort of sense of divine intervention that we kind of came into each other's lives at that time. And that it was the project that I needed, right? That I didn't know was even available to me. And so what, better a project could there have been to then be able to engage with and talk to Black people about what future, if any, they saw for themselves.
You let people tell their story and then you retell their story by knitting it together into this beautiful tapestry.
I feel blessed that people shared their stories with us and trusted us to be a steward over their stories.
So you see roughly 30 or so folks on screen, but we had the opportunity to collaborate with over 75 Black college and university faculty throughout the entirety of the project. As you know, in our field, that's like very uncommon. It's actually discouraged, right? Any more than 3 and you're not the lead, like don't do that.
After the interview, we said to each other, this may be an opportunity for us to really give people flowers.
And so I think there's something powerful about being able to put names, faces to stories. And you can remember the tremors in people's voices in a way that you can't just pretend like it didn't happen.
I use this project to teach. Students light up in a completely different way. Like, it is a part of me. It informs my service, how I support faculty, new faculty that are coming in, especially new Black faculty. I'm like, hey, this is what you're not gonna do.
And there's this complicated relationship we have to being the first and the only, right? We just saw it play out just now. Like, there is a pride in being the first, and we should feel proud.
But what I've often found is, as a consequence of being told how I'm going to be assessed, meeting those metrics, and anybody who's been, the gifted and talented and all of the things, right? That in some way, shape, or form, then you become the magical Negro. And now you become the standard by which other Black faculty are to be measured or to be assessed.
How do you move past the fear? How do you do that?
But the thing that comes to mind is not in the film. Layla McLeod says, I'm gonna die of something one day. It's not gonna be this. And I think about that often because of the amount of Black women in higher education that have lost their lives. As we have been on tour with this work, we've heard countless stories of thank you. Even though we can't travel with everybody that's in the film, we take them with us wherever we go.